Good morning from Canandaigua, New York. As, a- as we try to manage our lives in 2020, it's helpful to focus on what few things we feel that we can manage or control in our own lives. So Shirley, Patty, and Bev present Adjusting to Life During the Pandemic. Oh, I see somebody's having a difficult morning already. When we're working from home, there are so many different variables that we can adjust in our own home offices. And I see that Patty has spent quite a bit of time decorating her home office. It's quite attractive. However, she hasn't worked on her positioning. It's highly recommended that we acquire furniture that is appropriate for us and maybe drawers that actually fit our feet. However, I would recommend that she use a footstool instead of the drawer to prop up her leg. She actually has a fairly comfortable position in the hip temporarily, but over time, having that keyboard on her lap and having the phone and monitor so far away from her is just not going to work. Poor posture, Patty. Don't be a PPP. We see that we have another employee that's working from home. From what I remember, her name is Beverly. She's wearing her mask, and she clearly understands the requirement to clean her workstation in between people working at the desk. Whether you're working from home or whether you're working from the office, it's always important to keep your equipment clean and sanitized and disinfected. She's using a material that can be caustic, so as the directions recommend, she is to be wearing her gloves while she cleans her workstation in preparation of starting her day. No telling if the grandkids were around and they were messing with peanut butter and jelly on their fingers, or whether the previous person might have been exposed to COVID-19. And she's done a sufficient job. Always dispose of your equipment, your PPE, not poor posture Patty, the protective equipment in the appropriate manner, and also cleanse your hands using your hand sanitizer. I see that she still is wearing her mask and she's still prepping her workstation and also wearing her ID. It's always important to have a nicely positioned foundation, which would be your pelvis and your low back, and certainly your feet. So adjusting your chair at some time during the initial stages of getting to your workstation is highly recommended. Nobody's around, so she's able to remove her mask at this time. If she doesn't get it caught on her ear, which is another hygiene issue possibly, if she's tugging on that earring. There's some changes that she can make. And it looks like she's sitting a little bit low in her chair. It's hard to manage balancing the size of our equipment to our positional needs. Now that she's achieved an appropriate position for her arms, she could have too large of an open angle at her hips, but it looks like she's going to be comfortable for a while. However, she is asymmetrical, and we have to balance the symmetry that is recommended in a workstation and the asymmetry that all of us have in our skeletal systems. So let's see how Beverly manages her workstation to improve her safe. Another adjustment that she's made is to the monitor, pulling it closer so that she doesn't have to squint as much. She's already moved her chair closer. She's already raised her seat height, and she's already elevated her armrest so that she's in good position to be able to work a long 8-hour day. She's still having a little trouble seeing though. Ah, a patient must be calling. Oh, back to work, Beverly. Now I wonder how she's going to be managing speaking with a client and looking up information in CPRS. So that is a good solution for her very temporarily. A better solution would be to maybe put it on speakerphone. And if you have a headset, you can always use a headset, because it's not good to have your neck in such a sharp angle to the left. Now my recommendation, if we compare Poor Posture Patty and Be a Better Bev, I recommend being a better Bev. In the meantime, let's give Patty another opportunity to improve her workstation life. I have a feeling if she's been listening, she understands what needs to be done. Here she is. Now what we're recommending for Patty is to emulate what Beverly has shown us to be effective in the workstation. She's acquired a different chair, so she, instead of sitting in a chair with no wheels, she's now in a chair with wheels. She's adjusting it to her height, since she's this lovely petite woman. She's achieving a symmetrical position, has her workstation within arm's reach. And as you see, it brings a smile to her face. Another thing that can help us during the workday is our joints were made to move, so we need to move our joints. So during our long work days, which sometimes do exceed 8 hours, we don't always want to be seated in the same position. So every 15 minutes or so, I would highly recommend that one get up and move about. If you're not able to get away from your workstation, which you should be during your scheduled breaks, is do some exercises. And that might simply be standing up and sitting down. And nicely and slowly, and standing up and sitting down. And then as you see, she's kept a good symmetrical position in the spine, and now she's doing subtle rotations. So any of the movements or exercises that you do, always start out with something subtle. Don't go into anything aggressive. We're not attempting to achieve competitive athlete status. We just want to keep our joints moving so that we can continue to work for the VA with a smile on our face. So don't be a PPP, be a BBB. Be a better Bev or an improved Patty. Now we've gone over several ideas or recommendations for how to better position oneself at your workstation, especially if you're teleworking, because you likely don't have the availability of other equipment, office equipment, that might be available to someone who is actually working on campus and where they do storehouse and warehouse equipment, or it can be acquired. So over time, just gradually try and improve your workstation. And again, pay attention to what you feel that you can accommodate, what you can correct, what you can modify. And if you need any support, certainly give your supervisor a call. And there are always some accommodations that might be able to be made through an individual who takes care of workstation assessments, even though you might be in the home. So again, this is Cheryl Lee, Patty, and Bev. Adjusting to life during the pandemic.
Written and directed by Cheryl Lee, Patty, and Bev.
Narrated by physical therapist extraordinaire, Cheryl Lee.
Poor Posture Patty, played by Patty Dillman, RN Fantastico, an unpaid actress.
Be a Better Bev, played by Bev Phippen, RN Superior and struggling actress.
Improved Posture Patty, played by the incomparable Patty D.
The end.